Drake, your host for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm here to bring you the latest stories in news, sports, and weather to ensure that you're well informed about the happenings in your neck of the woods. And to make things even more exciting, we have a special guest, Mr. David Walker, to talk with us about the Backdoor Coffee House. Trust me, you won't want to miss what he's got to share with us. But before we jump into all the excitement, here's a quick message from our sponsor. So hang tight, we'll be right back with more Southern Miss Today.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mississippi Beverages. Mississippi Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mississippi Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mississippi Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. In USM campus news, this afternoon, the Southern Opera and Musical Theater Company will present a virtual chat with one of their own. Southern Miss alum Ezekiel Andrew will talk with us about his experience as an actor and his journey in the entertainment industry. He started his career by being in multiple plays at USM. Then he progressed to join the 2017 play called The Phantom of the Opera, and later performed around the country. Andrew has even been in Disney's The Lion King. Come to Intermezzo at Woods Gallery at 4 p.m. for an unforgettable chance to learn about the theater life. If you're in a musical mood, mark your calendar for the Faculty Artist Series on February 29th at 6 p.m. Dr. Lee and Dr. Michael Buckman will present a recital featuring music by German composers. Expect to be swept away by enchanting melodies played on the violin and piano. Don't miss out on this wonderful evening of music in Mosh Auditorium. As Black History Month is working its way to a close, USM English professor Dr. Philip Collin commemorated the month with new poetry. His collection, White Terror, Black Trauma, Resistance Poems about Black History, has been published by the Third World Press. The 61 poems in Collin's new book commemorate on some of the most harrowing events in Black history, while also focusing on some historical figures. Topics include Dred Scott, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth, Medgar Evers, Rosa Parks, and Dr. Martin Luther King. Collin has said that the poems include activists fighting against segregation, voter suppression, and Jim Crow injustice. The poems are eulogies, dramatic monologues, and rituals. Some are written in third person, while others are written in first. The founder of the Black Arts Movement has called Dr. Collin an excellent researcher of African American history and culture and a superior poet. In Hattiesburg news, a Hattiesburg mother has created a foundation in honor of her 21-year-old daughter who was killed in a 2023 October shooting. Nearly 4 months after Jade Rose was killed at a Halloween party in Hattiesburg, her mother Joyce Bailey is using her pain to make an impact within the community. Bailey recently founded the Love Angel Foundation to give local students educational opportunities, such as helping them build their public speaking skills. There was a Martin Luther King oratory contest where 4 students participated in preliminaries on Saturday. Bailey has stated that the students of Hattiesburg are so powerful and talented, and she just wants to showcase them by letting them know there are better things that can be done. More positive things to do in the community can help to showcase them in this light and love. Finals for the competition will be held at 4 p.m. on February 29th at Hattiesburg City Hall. In Mississippi news, Mississippi is one step closer to what would be a landmark shift in healthcare policy.
The Republican-led House is preparing to debate expansion of Medicaid benefits to hundreds of thousands
More residents, and one of the poorest states in the U.S. Medicaid is a health insurance program. Medicaid is a health insurance program that covers low-income people. Those making up to 138% of the federal poverty level, or $20,000 annually for a single person, would be eligible. Mississippi's top health officials have said that the state ranks at the bottom of every healthcare indicator. Hospitals are struggling to remain open. The state also has one of the nation's lowest labor participation rates. Health officials have said that the policy could help limit these conditions. Until this year, Mississippi's legislative Republicans have never held a hearing to consider Medicaid expansion. The debate was stalled due to oppositions from party leaders, one of them being Governor Tate Reeves. On Tuesday, Tate Reeves repeated that the government should not run health care. In contrast, Republican House Speaker Jason White says he wants legislators to consider the policy. That's your news update from Southern Miss Today. Next, we'll have the latest in sports and weather. So stay tuned. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sippy Beverages. Mr. Sippy Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277, and the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Put your jerseys on because it is game time. Southern Miss women's soccer member Rebecca Vega received an invite to the U20 Venezuelan national team last week. The Venezuelans will train for the 2024 CONMEBOL U20 tournament, set to take place in Ecuador from April 11th until May 5th, with the top 4 teams advancing to the Women's World Cup in Colombia. Senior Lady Eagle Dominique Davis has been named a Gilman Trophy finalist for the second time in her career. The Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame and Museum announced this just yesterday. The trophy is awarded to the most outstanding women's college basketball players in Mississippi. Women's basketball is set to play against Texas State today at 7 p.m. in San Marcos, Texas. Men's basketball will play against South Alabama today at 7 p.m. in Mobile, Alabama. Our softball team will work hard too with the game set for February 29th at 6 p.m. at Mississippi State. Then they will have a game versus Samford on March 1st at 12:30 p.m. in Nux Park, located in Starkville, Mississippi. Head to southernmiss.com to keep up with all of our Golden Eagle sports activities. Here at USM, we are more than proud of all of our Golden Eagle athletes. As for your weather today, it is currently 77 degrees. There's a high of 77 and a low of 49. Cloudy conditions are expected throughout the rest of the day. We should be expecting 25% of rain around 2 and 3 p.m. It sounds like it's just a few sprinkles of rain, but don't forget your umbrellas or your rain jackets because you never know with Hattiesburg weather. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments produced by the Center of Oral History and Cultural Heritage. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. Before schools were desegregated in Mississippi, black children were forced to deal with limited resources. Ernestine Scott recalls riding 12 miles on an overcrowded bus to reach the one black school.
I went to school right outside of Ashland, which was called Old Salem. And it was to house all of the county's black children. See, in our county, we had 2 schools, and kids would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to be ready to board the school bus, to come past the school in Potts Camp, to come past the school in Ashland, to come to Old Salem. So they had to be out there in the dark, ready to get on that bus in the winter, to be able to come, and all of our buses were always crowded. People would sit on each other's laps, and then there would be kids standing from the back door all the way up to standing down here where the door opens with the bus driver. But the white kids went to school in their community, so to speak. We went to school all together outside our community but in a designated area. This is your school right here. You go to school here.
To hear more, visit MississippiMoments.org or just like us on Facebook. Mississippi Moments is sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. The humanities are for everyone.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from Mr. David Walker. So stick with us while we hear a message from one of our sponsors.
Sponsorship for Southern Miss Today comes from Mr. Sippy Beverages. Mr. Sippy Beverages provides water, water coolers, and coffee service throughout South Mississippi. Take half of your weight in pounds. That's how many ounces of water you need a day. Mr. Sippy Beverages can help you reach that goal by delivering fresh water to your door. To get more information or to set up a cooler and water delivery, you can call Mr. Sippy Beverages at 601-271-2420, or you can find them online. Southern Miss Student Media is how USM communication students put their education into action. The student prints, Southern Miss Radio, SMTV, and SM2 Creative are the media properties operated by Southern Miss Student Media. You can get your share of the more than $600 million USM brings to the area with help from Southern Miss Student Media. To find out more about how to reach the USM audience, email sm2sales@usm.edu.
Welcome back, everyone. We have a special guest with us today. He is the manager of Backdoor Coffee House. Please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to Dr. David Walker. How are you doing today?
Kennedy, it's great to be here, but first of all, I'm no doctor, and I didn't sleep in a Holiday Inn, so it's just me. A lot of the folks know me on The Voice here. We are announcing a very special event. I always say that. Every time I talk about a Backdoor Coffee House, it's a special event. Well, this one has kind of a bittersweet specialness to it in that it is the last Backdoor Coffee House at University Baptist Church. After 32 years of doing this on as close to a monthly basis as we were ever able to do. And so it's a special invitation to people. We've had a great run of singer-songwriters, regional folks that were, looking to find that audience, develop their voice, and as well as a lot of pros, folks that have made their living in Nashville, and even folks in Sweden and England that are friends of ours now that love this venue. Because I've been getting a lot of love since we announced this was going to be the last show. I mean, it's, I can tear up. I'm an emotional guy. I'm all verklempt. But we're having two of our favorite people, and Kate Campbell and Scott Ainsley. And when several months ago we had finally determined that this was going to be our last show, I had already booked Scott, not knowing it would be the last show. But I was happy with that. I said, Scott's great. He's very much the voice that we're happy with at that venue. He is a blues man par excellence, and he is a Robert Johnson scholar. He teaches guitar techniques. I mean, you can get him online to learn guitar techniques from him, but he's played and researched so many great blues musicians. And the last time he came, it wasn't the last time, it was the first time he came several years ago, he sang a number for me I had heard on one of the albums, and it had moved me so deeply. And I said, Scott, I don't tell my artists what to play, but if you take a request, would you be able to play this number? And I told it to him. He said, well, David, I haven't played that in years. He says, but I'll play it, and I'll tell you the story. And that's what's great about the Backdoor, is the artist is there with you. It's really like if I invited them to my house and you came over to our house. It's that intimate. So Scott tells the story of this song and why the person recorded it. And I was like crying. I mean, it shook me up. I mean, you don't expect that, Mm-hmm. I mean, so I'm going to probably try and pull that one back in. But when Kate Campbell in Nashville found out through the grapevine that this was going to be the last show, Kate, who was our first artist who had a national following. We had a lot of local people, but we never had anybody who'd been a recording artist and had people that knew her. Came to us about 20 years ago. That was the first time we felt like we could take the chance financially to do it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a moment of faith to get out there with Kate, but yeah, and she had me when she came in. Well, hey y'all. I mean, I said you had me from hey y'all when she walks in. She had a New York Yankees sweatshirt on and blue jeans. Came, bumbling into the church we were setting up, and I just thought, that's Kate Campbell. Yeah.
So Backdoor Coffee House has a wide variety of great talented musicians.
Yeah.
I also have heard that there's been poets that have come there.
Oh yeah, we've always loved writers. I'm a writer, and finally here at the end of my life, I'm having a certain amount of success with that, which is nice. I don't want to do an ad for me. I'll tell that another day if you want to interview me. But we've had a number of folks read that were, published, not necessarily the number one books in the country, but we've had a number of people that we thought had a voice that fit, and we've always invited poets because I love the thing about reading. If someone reads to you, it takes an incredibly good story and an incredibly good reader for you not to just kind of be, okay, is this over yet?
Yes, and pay attention.
A song ends in 3 minutes, and a short story can go on 15. That's hard. That's harder than an audience. So we learned a long time ago to balance. Whenever we had readers, we also had music, and we would just do short clips between. It's a little harder to manage, but we do those things. We did those things, excuse me. We did everything. Everything's in the past now.
I'm a big fan of poetry. I love watching poetry performances on YouTube.
Yeah.
So when I saw that was very appealing to me.
Well, as a writer, I will say that I admire poetry because it is the hardest writing. To say more with less is always harder, and poetry is like the ultimate expression of that. I do not claim to be a poet, although I will occasionally do small parts of poetry within the stories, the fantasies that I write. But that's another day. Anyway, back to the Backdoor Coffee House. Kate Campbell is well known in this region. She has enormous fans. In fact, when word got out, I had calls from the coast and things like that, people that are coming up for the show or from other places. So it'll be a packed room. The good news is you don't have to pay anything. This show, we say donation only. The only donations will be if somebody wants to help us out with the babysitters, because we always pay them, but that's where that money will go. It won't go into our war chest, so to speak, because we're emptying our war chest. Oh, and the other thing about this, I do want to thank University Baptist Church, which is my church, by the way, and has been all these years. We have always been a separate sort of ministry in that we never had a budget. And I told them when I first had the idea for this, I said, I don't want any church money. I just want the room, if we can do that. If you can give us the room and the light, And they were like, fantastic. And I said, I hate the idea of big church rooms going empty and things not happening that should be happening in the community. So this was a gift to the community that just said, hey, come on over. Here's some wonderful artists. We're here. This isn't, this is no hidden agenda. This is all of us celebrating. And, of course, it was up to us kind of who we invited to come play. So, of course, I was picking people that I felt like had real heart, real soul, and real talent. And we've had Grammy winners, and that's pretty good people.
What Grammy winners?
Well, my favorite Grammy winner we've had, and I don't want to talk about the other guys, but Tricia Walker, who is a Mississippi native, who has, I think, just retired from the Delta State music program that she kind of ran for years. They brought her back from Nashville to take that day job. They scouted her out, and they had their big recording studio and everything there. Their albums that are recorded there regularly now. And she's also been involved with the founding of the Grammy Museum in Cleveland, Mississippi, and is just now a kind of an ambassador for the Delta. She's, she goes back to the Bluebird to play every year with her girlfriends. So when she has a fundraiser like in the Delta, she'll have several folks that people know from albums and stuff that'll come down and play with her for, a dinner where you contribute. And one day I'll save up my pennies and go contribute. But Tricia is she's heart and soul. And when she found out, we had a long discussion the other night about it, and she said some things to me that were so sweet. I just can't say them, but it was for all of us. It was for everybody that put their heart, time into it. And I will say we've had wonderful help with students here from USM, particularly the international students that they come on Wednesday nights to eat, and also they're just friends of ours, and we do sometimes English reading classes and things, but they love the shows, and we've often featured them in shows. When we got permission, couldn't pay them, had to be volunteer. Don't ever get anybody in trouble. But when you have incredibly talented musicians from all over the world and who like sharing with the community, it's just too good an opportunity. So we've had that. We'll have some folks there that night, and that's probably who'll help me set up tomorrow night and take down on Friday night or Saturday.
What would you say is the criteria to be able to showcase your talent?
Whoa. Well, we never had anything written and down. It was mainly we would hear about people. Once Kate Campbell came for us, she knew people, and they know her, like from Nashville out. And so we started making friends, and we had Tom Kimmel. This just shows you how dangerous the place is. We got Tom Kimmel, and we did our first big festival, which was to bring in some artists who would do poetry and songwriting and everything else, and we'd have a big night performance, and then we'd have the workshops the next day, and it was really wonderful. But one of the ones we brought in was somebody I really liked, and Tom Kimmel, who's very well known, and as both a poet, and he was poet in residence at Vanderbilt, but he's also like an incredible musician and has recorded multiple albums, has sung with people, all kinds of big names that have done his music. But he came, and he ended up marrying my preacher,
Oh, wow.
Kat Kimmel, who was Kat Spangler at the time. And when we were working on Tripod, she said, "Do you know any poets?" I said, "Hey, listen, I got a twofer. I got a poet and a songwriter that can come for the cost of one to work with." And she said, "Well, who's he?" So he came down, and sure enough, after all that, they started seeing each other, and they've been married now, I guess, 7 or 8 years, and they're living in Memphis. She's in the church there, and he's a little closer to Nashville.
I'm from outside of Memphis, so.
We got a lot of friends up that way, yeah. And I'm going on and on. We could go all night. I want to be sure I cover what I need to cover. So it's Friday night, March 1st. The doors open at 7. If you get there a few minutes before 7, the doors won't be locked. I would get there close to 7 because it's probably going to be a really big crowd. The show is at 7:30. We'll have homemade cake. We have somebody who came out of retiring making cake to do it for this show because he loves Kate and the whole idea of the last show. That's Al Butler, a good member of our church who cooks great. And we'll have coffee and treats, all sorts of stuff, popcorn, everything else. And you don't pay for anything like that. You just come and enjoy. And when the show's over, these folks love to, talk, share, sign CDs, or whatever the kids are making now, CDs, that's old man. But there's just stuff. It's going to be a great night. And you, since you're not, if you have to come in a little late, just come in kind of quiet, and we'll find a chair for you. You may have to sit in the window this night, though. I don't know. Hopefully it's going to be that kind of a crowd. Scott Ainsley, I love Scott to death. I said, you're a brother from another mother. And so he's really thrilled to be here. And Kate Campbell, who's just the queen of my rodeo.
Is this the last event?
The last event. 32 years ending Friday. I will say, you never say never about anything. So, our church has always been pretty deeply involved in the arts in some way or another and supportive. And we've always felt like there's a spiritual, if the arts are a spiritual connection. They are important in the journey. And it doesn't mean you have to agree with everything, but it is a way to look at something with a deeper purpose and more humanity. And surely that is an entrance to the good things. So, having said all that, is there anything you want to ask that I've forgotten? Or
is there any other way you think the guests that come to this event will benefit from attending?
Well, they'll meet some incredible friends. I will say, I always do one church ad at the end of every show just because, we don't go around, beating on people and saying, give me money. I always tell people, tonight you came in the back door. But this church has a front door, and it's open just as wide. And that's kind of a philosophy in our church. It's a very open church.
Where is it? Where is the Backdoor Coffee House located?
3200 Arlington Loop, University Baptist Church. It's Cooperative Baptist Fellowship. It's about 2.5 blocks from here. You could walk there from here in about 5 minutes, or 3 minutes if you're rushing. But it's easy to get to. If you come out of USM and you just go straight, like past this, just go across the street, you go down to a T like that, where you have to turn left or right. If you go left, you're heading toward the hospital. If you go to the right, you're going to go up a little hill, and we'll be up on the top of that hill on the left. So it's easy to get to.
How could someone contact you about the event or making sure?
Okay, just, I don't want to give my phone out over the air, but I will give out our email, okay? Yes. And this is an email you can reach me if you have other things in mind, too. There are always potential things. This will be easy. Coffeehouse at ubchm.org.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today and providing insight of what the Backdoor Coffee House is.
And Kennedy, it's been my thrill, and I understand you're going to introduce one of Kate's songs here in a minute.
Yes. Okay. Coming up, we have Kate's song.
Okay.
Kate Campbell.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
People got ready for the train to come. I can see 'em working in the Delta sun. Give you 40 acres and a mule to plow. Seems like a change should have come by now. Mississippi burning for 100 years. River overflowing in a trail of tears. Separate but equal, how's that working out? God knows a change should have come by now. I never thought I'd have to write another freedom song. I never ever thought that it was going to take so long. Been 50 years since I was born and wandering strange. I still believe in hope and love, and I remember people got ready for the train to come. I can still see 'em in the Selma sun, marching blind, but they would not be turned around. Yes, a change should have come by now. 4 little angels and a world of pain. Bulldogs and bullets couldn't stop that train. How much more will the heart allow? I know a change should have come by now. And I've been praying, yeah, a change should have come by now. I've been waiting, the change should have come by now. And I'll keep singing, a change should have come by now.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Thanks to our audio engineer, Justin Ware, and our live stream producer, Cullen Rogers, for keeping this bird flying. Big shout out to our assistant producer, Anna Lee Johnson, executive producer, Ohari Adia, program director, Shania Williams, and our general manager, Dr. Martin. That wraps up our show for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, soar high to the sky, fly, eagle, fly. This is your host, Kennedy Drake, signing off for now.